My name is Maya Chen. I'm 28 years old. 3 weeks ago, my mother stood in her living room, surrounded by my aunts, my cousins, and her closest friends, looked directly at me, and said the words that would change everything. You know, Maya was never really ours. We took her in because we felt sorry for her. But blood is blood. And Victoria is our real daughter. 53 people heard her say it. 53 people watched my face as those words landed. But here's what none of them knew. Before I tell you what happened next, please like and subscribe to this channel, but only if stories about setting boundaries with toxic family members resonate with you. Because what my parents didn't know in that moment, what they couldn't have known, was that for the past 4 years, I had been the one keeping their entire life afloat. Every single month. $8,500. Their mortgage, their car payments, their country club membership that my mother loved to brag about, all of it, me. And they had no idea. Have you ever been told you don't belong by the very people who raised you? Have you ever been made to feel like you were less than, just because you didn't fit their perfect picture? Type yes in the comments if you know exactly what I'm talking about. This wasn't the first time my mother had made me feel invisible. Let me take you back to the beginning, to the moment I should have seen this coming. I was adopted when I was 3 years old. I don't remember much about my birth parents, just flashes. A yellow apartment, the smell of jasmine, a woman's laugh that sounded like wind chimes. My adoptive parents, Richard and Susan Chen, were in their early 30s when they brought me home. Successful, put together. They lived in a beautiful colonial house in Riverside Heights, the kind of neighborhood where people waved at each other from their perfectly manicured lawns. For the first few years, I thought I was lucky. I had my own room painted lavender, ballet lessons every Tuesday, a golden retriever named Scout. But when I was 7 years old, everything changed. My mother got pregnant. Victoria was born on a Tuesday in March, and from that moment forward, I became background noise. I told myself it was normal. New baby. Lots of attention needed. It would balance out. It never did. The recital. When I was 9 and Victoria was 2, we both had performances on the same day. Mine was a ballet recital at 3 p.m. Hers was a toddler graduation from Mommy and Me class at 5 p.m. My parents promised they'd make both. I remember standing backstage in my white tutu, peeking through the curtain, searching for them in the audience. The music started. The curtain opened. I danced the entire routine, a solo I'd practiced for 3 months, scanning the seats. They weren't there. After the performance, I found them in the parking lot. "Sorry, sweetie," my mother said, not looking up from buckling Victoria into her car seat. "Victoria's event ran late, but I'm sure you were wonderful." She didn't ask to see photos, didn't ask how it went. When we got home, the entire living room was decorated with balloons and a banner that said, "Victoria's Big Day." There was nothing for me. I was 9 years old and I already understood. I was the backup plan. The college fund. When I was 16, my guidance counselor called a meeting with my parents to discuss college applications. I had a 3.9 GPA. I was captain of the debate team. I'd been accepted into a summer program at Georgetown. I was so excited. At the meeting, my counselor said, "Maya has a real shot at some excellent schools. Have you looked into financial aid? Scholarships? What's your college fund situation?" My father cleared his throat. "We've been setting aside money," he said. "But we need to be strategic. We have 2 daughters." My mother nodded. "Victoria is only 9, but we're thinking long-term. Maya is very independent. She'll figure it out. Victoria will need more support." I sat there, frozen. The counselor blinked. "I'm sorry. Are you saying you're prioritizing one child's education over the others?" "We're being realistic," my mother said. "Maya is resourceful. She'll get scholarships. Victoria might not be academically inclined. She'll need our help." Translation. I was smart, so I didn't deserve their money. Victoria was average, so she deserved everything. I paid for college myself. 4 years of student loans, work-study programs, waiting tables on weekends. My parents paid for Victoria's entire education, including her master's degree in interior design that she never used. Total cost difference, $187,000. This one sounds small, but it broke something in me. Last Thanksgiving, just 3 months before the incident I'm telling you about, my extended family came over. Aunts, uncles, cousins, 23 people total. My mother spent weeks planning. She rented extra chairs. She had the dining room table professionally set with her fine china, the set she inherited from her grandmother. The day before Thanksgiving, she showed me the seating chart. Victoria was at the head of the table, next to my mother. I was in the kitchen. Not at the kids' table. I was 28 years old. Not at a side table. At a folding chair. In the kitchen. Next to the dog's water bowl. "It's just easier this way," my mother said when I asked. "You don't mind, do you? You're so easygoing. Victoria gets anxious in crowds." I looked at the seating chart. Victoria, who worked part-time at a boutique and still lived at home, was surrounded by family, included in every conversation. I, who had a master's degree in data analytics and ran financial models for a consulting firm, was eating turkey next to the refrigerator. I didn't argue. I smiled. I nodded. I sat in the kitchen. But something inside me cracked. The birthday party. 2 years ago, my mother threw herself a 60th birthday party at the country club. It was elaborate. A string quartet. Passed hors d'oeuvres. A champagne tower. She invited 120 people. When it was time for speeches, my father stood up with a microphone. "Susan," he said, looking at my mother with tears in his eyes, "you are the love of my life. And the greatest gift you ever gave me was our daughter." He turned to Victoria. "Victoria, you are everything we ever dreamed of. You are kind, beautiful, and you make us proud every single day." Everyone clapped. I sat at table 14 in the back, next to my mother's book club friends who didn't know my name. My father sat down. He never mentioned me. Not once. Not even in passing. I went to the bathroom and cried for 20 minutes. When I came back, no one had noticed I was gone. If you've ever been the invisible child in your family, the one who was always expected to understand, to be flexible, to not need attention, drop a comment. Tell me, what was your folding chair in the kitchen moment? Here's the thing my parents never understood. Being invisible taught me to be self-sufficient. While Victoria was being celebrated for getting a B+ on a history test, I was teaching myself advanced Excel modeling in my bedroom. While my parents were bragging to their friends about Victoria's creative eye for rearranging furniture, I was building financial projection models for a consulting firm at age 24 that would eventually save them $12 million. I didn't do it for attention. I did it because I wanted to prove to myself that I was worth something, even if my family couldn't see it. By the time I was 26, I was a senior data analyst at Worthington & Cross, one of the top consulting firms in the city. My specialty? Financial restructuring. I helped companies on the verge of bankruptcy identify inefficiencies, cut costs, and build sustainable financial models. I was good at it, really good. I made $140,000 a year. My parents had no idea. When they asked what I did for work, I'd say, "I'm an analyst." "Oh," my mother would say, barely looking up. "That sounds technical." Then she'd turn to whoever was in the room and say, "Victoria just got promoted to senior sales associate at the boutique. They're giving her the front window displays now." They thought I was average, invisible, unremarkable. They had no idea that I was in the top 5% of earners for my age group, that I'd been headhunted by 3 other firms in the past year, that the CEO of my company had personally written me a recommendation letter for a fellowship I'd applied to. I didn't tell them because, honestly, I'd learned a long time ago that they weren't interested. But here's the part that matters for this story. 4 years ago, when I was 24 and just starting to make real money, my parents almost lost their house. The financial crisis. It started with my father's business. He owned a mid-sized marketing firm. For 20 years, it had been stable, good clients, steady income. But then the industry shifted. Digital marketing exploded. His old-school approach wasn't cutting it anymore. Clients left. Revenue dropped. Within 18 months, the business was hemorrhaging money. My parents had built their entire lifestyle on his income. The house in Riverside Heights, the country club membership, the luxury cars, Victoria's private school tuition. When the money stopped, they panicked. I found out by accident. I'd stopped by the house one afternoon to drop off a birthday gift for Victoria. I walked in through the garage, like I always did, and I heard my parents arguing in the kitchen. "We're 3 months behind, Richard," my mother was screaming. 3 months! The bank sent another letter. "I'm trying," my father shouted back. "I'm doing everything I can. We're going to lose the house. Do you understand that? We're going to lose everything." I stood in the hallway, frozen. I should have walked away, but I didn't. I walked into the kitchen. "How much do you need?" I asked. They both turned to look at me, startled. "Maya," my father said, his face pale. "This isn't. You shouldn't." "How much?" I repeated. My mother's eyes filled with tears. "We're $34,000 behind on the mortgage. The bank is threatening foreclosure." I didn't think. I just said, "I'll cover it." My mother blinked. "What?" "I'll cover the $34,000, and I'll take over the mortgage payments until you get back on your feet." My father stared at me. "Maya, you can't afford." "Yes, I can," I said quietly. "I make good money. I've been saving. I can do this." I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. I transferred $34,000 from my savings account to their mortgage company that same afternoon. Then I set up automatic monthly payments of $8,500, their full mortgage payment, from my account to theirs. I told them it was temporary, just until my father's business recovered. "We'll pay you back," my mother promised, crying. "I swear, Maya, we'll pay you back." They never did. For 4 years, I paid their mortgage, every single month, $8,500. That's $102,000 a year. Over 4 years, $408,000. Plus the initial $34,000 I'd paid to catch them up. Total, $442,000. I never told anyone, not my friends, not my coworkers, not even my therapist at first. I just did it. And my parents? They never mentioned it. Not to their friends, not to extended family, not even to Victoria. In fact, after the first few months, they stopped acknowledging it altogether. My mother went back to hosting dinner parties. My father bought a new Audi. Victoria got a $15,000 wedding dress for her engagement party. She wasn't even married yet. It was just for photos. And when people asked them how they were doing, how they'd survived the business downturn, they'd smile and say, "We tightened our belts, made sacrifices. We're fighters." No mention of me. No mention of the fact that their daughter, the one they'd seated in the kitchen at Thanksgiving, had saved their home. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself I was doing it because it was the right thing to do. Because they were my parents. Because family helps family. But deep down, I was waiting. Waiting for them to see me. Waiting for them to say thank you. Waiting for them to finally look at me and say, "You matter." They never did. Before we get to what happened next, and trust me, this is where everything changes, tell me, if you were me, would you have kept paying? Type 1. If you would have stopped immediately, or type 2, if you would have kept going like I did. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago. Victoria got engaged. Her fiancé, Derek, is a commercial real estate agent. Nice enough guy, makes decent money, drives a Tesla, has good teeth. My parents were ecstatic. My mother immediately started planning an engagement party. Not a small thing, not a backyard barbecue, a full-scale event at the country club. Catered dinner, live band, guest list of 150 people, estimated cost $35,000. I found out about it the same way I found out about most family events, accidentally. I was at my parents' house dropping off some documents my father needed for his taxes. Yes, I also did their taxes for free. And I saw an invoice on the kitchen counter. Riverside Country Club, engagement celebration, balance, due, $17,500. I picked it up. The party was in 2 weeks. I hadn't been invited yet. I didn't say anything. I figured they'd mention it. I figured the invitation was coming. It didn't come. 1 week before the party, I still hadn't heard anything. I called my mother. "Hey, Mom," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "I saw the invoice for Victoria's engagement party. It looks beautiful. What time should I be there? There was a pause. A long pause. Oh, Maya, she said, and I could hear the discomfort in her voice. We were going to talk to you about that. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? Well, the thing is, Victoria really wants this to be an intimate event, just close family and her friends. We're keeping the list tight. I'm her sister, I said slowly. I know, sweetie, but you know how Victoria is. She gets overwhelmed, and Derek's family is flying in, and we need to make a good impression. We just think it's better if we keep it simple. I couldn't breathe. You're not inviting me, I said. It wasn't a question. It's not that we don't want you there, my mother said quickly. It's just, Victoria specifically asked, and we don't want to upset her. You understand, don't you? You're always so understanding. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, staring at the wall of my apartment. The apartment I'd been able to afford because I made $140,000 a year. The apartment I could have upgraded to a penthouse if I weren't sending $8,500 a month to their mortgage. Does Victoria know? I asked quietly. Does she know I've been paying your mortgage for 4 years? Another pause. That's not really relevant, Maya. Does she know? No, my mother admitted. We didn't want to burden her with that. But you burdened me with it. That's not fair, my mother said, her voice getting sharper. You offered. No one forced you. I offered because you were about to lose your house. I offered because I thought we were family. I thought, we are family, she interrupted. But Maya, you have to understand. This is Victoria's moment. She deserves to have things her way. And honestly, having you there might create tension. You can be a bit intense, competitive. I laughed. It came out harsh and bitter, and it startled both of us. I'm competitive? I said. I'm the one who's been keeping you afloat for 4 years, and I'm competitive? We're grateful for what you've done, my mother said stiffly. But that doesn't mean you get to hold it over our heads. I hung up. I sat in my apartment, staring at my banking app. $8,500 had just auto-transferred that morning. Another month, another payment. I opened my email and drafted a message to my bank. Please cancel automatic transfer to Richard and Susan Chen, effective immediately. I stared at it for 10 minutes. My finger hovered over send. And then I thought, no, not yet. I didn't cancel the payment. Instead, I did something better. I made a plan. I called my Aunt Linda, my father's sister, the one person in the family who had always been kind to me. She lived 3 hours away and only came to family events a few times a year. But whenever she did, she actually asked me questions, remembered my birthday, treated me like I mattered. Aunt Linda, I said when she picked up, I need to ask you something. Of course, honey. What's going on? Are you going to Victoria's engagement party? I am. Your mother sent me an invitation last week. Why? Are you not going? I wasn't invited, I said flatly. Silence. What? Mom said Victoria wants to keep it intimate. Close family only. Maya, you are close family. You're her sister. Apparently not close enough. I heard her exhale sharply. This is ridiculous. Do you want me to talk to them? No, I said. Actually, I want to ask you a favor. I told her my plan. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she laughed. Oh, Maya, she said. I'm in. The Party. Part 1. The night of the engagement party, I didn't stay home. I got dressed. I put on the nicest dress I owned, a deep emerald green silk number I'd bought for a work gala. I did my makeup, I curled my hair, and I drove to the country club. I didn't go inside. I sat in the parking lot, in my car, watching people arrive. I saw my parents walk in, laughing with guests. I saw Victoria, glowing in a white cocktail dress, holding Derek's hand. I saw aunts, uncles, cousins, friends I'd known since childhood. Not one of them knew I wasn't inside. At exactly 7:30 p.m., right when dinner was being served, my phone rang. It was Aunt Linda. Are you ready? She asked. I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to the microphone now. I heard background noise, clinking glasses, laughter. Then I heard Aunt Linda's voice. amplified through the sound system. "Excuse me, everyone. Before we sit down for dinner, I have a special toast I'd like to make." The room went quiet. "Susan, Richard," she said, "you've thrown a beautiful party tonight. Victoria, Derek, congratulations. This is a wonderful celebration." I heard people clapping. "But," Aunt Linda continued, "I think there's something we should all take a moment to recognize. Because tonight isn't just about celebrating love, it's also about celebrating family, and family means showing up for each other." I gripped my phone. 4 years ago," Aunt Linda said, her voice carrying through the room, "this family almost lost everything. Richard's business struggled, the mortgage fell behind, the bank threatened foreclosure." I heard someone gasp. "But someone stepped in," she continued. "Someone in this family, without asking for recognition, without asking for thanks, took on an enormous financial burden to save this house, this lifestyle, this very country club membership you're all enjoying tonight." My mother's voice, faint in the background. "Linda, this isn't." "That person," Aunt Linda said, speaking over her, "is Maya, Richard and Susan's oldest daughter, Victoria's sister, who has paid $500 every single month for the past 4 years. That's over $400,000. And she's not here tonight, because she wasn't invited." The room exploded. I heard shouts, gasps, chairs scraping. "Maya paid for this?" someone said. "They didn't invite her? Are you kidding me?" My phone buzzed. Text messages started pouring in. From cousins, "OMG, is this true?" From family friends, "Where are you? Are you okay?" From people I hadn't heard from in years, "I can't believe they did this to you." I sat in my car, watching the entrance to the country club. 2 minutes later, my mother came running out, phone in her hand, scanning the parking lot. She was calling me. I didn't answer. I started my car, and I drove home. Okay, pause. Before I tell you what happened next, I need to know. Was I wrong? Should I have just stayed quiet and let them have their party? Type yes if you think I did the right thing, or no if you think I went too far. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls. My mother, 23 calls. My father, 12 calls. Victoria, 8 calls. Various relatives, 4 calls. I didn't call any of them back. Instead, I did 3 things. Step 1, I called my bank. I need to cancel the automatic transfer to Richard and Susan Chen's mortgage account, effective immediately. "Of course, Ms. Chen. Just to confirm, this is the monthly $8,500 transfer?" "That's correct." "Done. The cancellation is effective as of today. Is there anything else?" "No. Thank you." I hung up. For the first time in 4 years, I felt like I could breathe. Step 2. I called my landlord. I'd been renting a 1-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood for the past 6 years. It was fine. It was safe. But it wasn't where I wanted to be. Now that I had an extra $8,500 a month, I could afford better. Within a week, I'd signed a lease on a stunning 2-bedroom loft downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a balcony overlooking the river, a doorman, a gym. I'd always told myself I couldn't afford it. Turns out I could. I just couldn't afford it while paying for my parents' country club lifestyle. Step 3. I blocked my parents' numbers. Not forever, just for a while. I needed space. I needed to figure out who I was without their voices in my head, telling me I wasn't enough. The calls. I didn't answer. Even though I'd blocked my parents, other people got through. My Aunt Linda called me the day after the party. "Maya," she said, her voice soft. "How are you holding up?" "I'm okay," I said, and I meant it. "What you did took courage." "I didn't do anything," I said. "I just stopped doing something." Exactly. My cousin Rachel, who I'd always been close with, called me a few days later. "I just want you to know," she said, "that what your mom said at the party, that thing about you not being their real daughter, everyone was horrified. People left, Maya. Your mom's friends were disgusted." "She said that?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I'd been in the parking lot. I hadn't heard that part. "You didn't know?" "No." Aunt Linda didn't mention it. Rachel was quiet for a moment. After Linda made the toast, your mom got on the microphone. She was trying to save face. She said, "God, Maya, I'm so sorry." She said, "Maya has always been dramatic. She's not even our real daughter. We took her in out of kindness, and this is how she repays us." I felt like I'd been punched. She said that in front of everyone? Yes, and Maya? People were appalled. Your dad tried to pull her away from the mic, but she kept going. She said, "Blood is blood. Victoria is our real daughter. Maya was, well, we tried." I couldn't speak. Half the room left. Rachel continued. People were furious. Your mom's book club friends? They unfollowed her on Facebook. Your dad's business partner told him it was disappointing. Victoria was crying. It was a disaster. Good, I thought. "Thank you for telling me," I said. "I'm on your side," Rachel said. "We all are. Well, the people who matter anyway." The emails. I didn't read. My parents started emailing me when they realized I'd blocked their numbers. I didn't read them right away. I let them sit in my inbox for days. Finally, a week after the party, I opened them. Subject: "We need to talk." From Dad. "Maya, your mother and I are devastated by what happened at the party. We never meant for things to escalate like this. We love you. You're our daughter, no matter what. Please call us so we can explain." Dad, I deleted it. Subject: "Please read this." From Mom. "Maya, I said things I didn't mean. I was embarrassed and upset, and I lashed out. You have to understand, what Linda did was cruel. She humiliated us in front of everyone. We were trying to give Victoria a special night, and it got ruined. I know you're angry, but you have to see this from our perspective. We didn't ask you to pay the mortgage. You offered. And now you're using it as a weapon against us. That's not fair. We're your family. We love you. Please come home." Mom, I stared at that email for a long time. "We didn't ask you to pay the mortgage. You offered." As if I'd offered to fund their entire lifestyle as a fun hobby. As if keeping them from losing their house was something I did for entertainment. I didn't respond. Subject: "I'm sorry." From Victoria. "Hey Maya, I know you're probably mad at me. I don't really understand what's going on, but Mom and Dad said you're upset because you weren't invited to my party. I didn't know you wanted to come. Mom said you were busy. I'm sorry if your feelings got hurt. That wasn't my intention. Can we talk? Love? Vic?" I almost laughed. I didn't know you wanted to come. I was her sister. Of course I wanted to come. But to Victoria, I'd always been optional. I didn't respond to her either. The freedom for the first 3 weeks I felt light. I went to work, I came home to my new apartment, I cooked meals I actually wanted to eat, I went to the gym, I read books, I didn't think about my parents. Or at least, I tried not to. But late at night, when I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, the doubts would creep in. Had I been too harsh? Should I have just let it go? Was I being petty? And then I'd remember. The kitchen chair at Thanksgiving. The ballet recital they missed. The college fund they gave to Victoria, but not to me. The birthday party speech where I didn't exist. The $442,000 I paid to save their house. The engagement party I wasn't invited to. The words my mother said into a microphone. "She's not even our real daughter." And I'd remind myself, I wasn't being petty, I was being sane. If you've ever had to cut off family members for your own mental health, type boundaries in the comments. Let's normalize protecting yourself. 3 weeks after I stopped paying the mortgage, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Ms. Chen? This is David Martinez from First National Bank. I'm calling regarding the mortgage account for Richard and Susan Chen at 482 Riverside Heights Drive." My stomach dropped. "Yes? Our records show that you were the primary payer on this account for the past 4 years. However, we haven't received a payment this month, and the account holders haven't made the payment either. The account is now 30 days past due." "I'm no longer responsible for that account," I said carefully. "I understand. I'm calling to inform you that we've sent a notice to Mr. and Mrs. Chen. If payment isn't received within 60 days, we'll begin foreclosure proceedings. Okay, I said. Thank you for letting me know. I hung up. I felt nothing. No guilt, no panic, no urge to fix it. Just a strange, quiet calm. They'd have to figure it out. The call I didn't expect. 2 days later, my phone rang again. This time, it was Aunt Linda. Maya, you need to come to Sunday dinner at your parents' house this week. I laughed. Absolutely not. I'm serious. Your mother called me. She's planning a family meeting. She's inviting everyone, me, your Uncle Joe, your cousins. She wants to clear the air. That sounds like a nightmare. It does, Linda agreed. But here's the thing. She doesn't know I'm on your side. She thinks I'm going to help her guilt you into coming back, into helping them. And I think you should come. Not to make peace, but to finally tell them the truth, in front of everyone. I was quiet for a long moment. I don't know if I can do that. You can, Linda said. And Maya? You should. Because if you don't, they're going to spin this. They're going to make you the villain. They're already telling people you abandoned them. That made me angry. Fine, I said. I'll come, but I'm not staying long. That's all I'm asking. Sunday dinner. I showed up at my parents' house at 6 p.m. on Sunday. There were 8 cars in the driveway. My stomach churned, but I walked inside. The living room was full. My parents, Victoria and Derek, Aunt Linda, Uncle Joe, my cousins Rachel, Tom, and Sophie, my mother's sister, Karen. Everyone turned to look at me when I walked in. Maya, my mother said, standing up. Her smile was tight. I'm so glad you came. Let's just get this over with, I said. I sat down. My mother took a deep breath. I've asked everyone here tonight because we need to address what happened at Victoria's engagement party. There's been a lot of hurt, a lot of misunderstanding, and I think it's important that we clear the air. She looked at me. Maya, I want to start by saying that I'm sorry. I said things I didn't mean. I was upset and embarrassed, and I lashed out. That wasn't fair to you. I waited. But, she continued, I also think we need to talk about boundaries, about respect. You can't just weaponize money to control us. That's not how family works. I stared at her. Weaponize money? I repeated slowly. You know what I mean. You paid the mortgage? Yes. We're grateful. But you can't use that to hold things over our heads. You can't punish us by taking it away just because you didn't get invited to one party. The room was silent. I looked around. Some people looked uncomfortable. Others looked curious. Aunt Linda was watching me, waiting. I stood up. Let me make sure I understand, I said, my voice eerily calm. You think I'm punishing you by stopping the payments? Well, yes, my mother said. I pulled out my phone. I opened my banking app. I turned the screen toward the room. This, I said, is my transaction history for the past 4 years. I scrolled. $8,500, $8,500, $8,500, $8,500, over and over and over. For 4 years, I said, I paid your mortgage every month. I also paid the $34,000 to catch you up when you were 3 months behind. That's $442,000 total. My cousin Sophie gasped. I did this, I continued, because you were about to lose your house. Because I thought that's what family does. You help each other. I looked at my mother. And for 4 years, you never once said thank you. You never once acknowledged it. In fact, you actively hid it. You didn't tell Victoria. You didn't tell your friends. You let people think you tightened your belts and survived on your own. My father started to speak. Maya, I'm not finished, I said. He closed his mouth. You seated me in the kitchen at Thanksgiving. You forgot to mention me at Mom's birthday party. You didn't invite me to Victoria's engagement celebration. And when Aunt Linda told everyone the truth, you got on a microphone and said in front of 53 people that I'm not your real daughter. Victoria looked at my mother, shocked. Mom, you said that? My mother's face was red. I was upset. You were upset. I laughed. I paid for your house, for your cars, for your lifestyle. And you were upset that people found out? We were going to pay you back, my father said desperately. When? I asked. It's been 4 years. You bought a new Audi. You paid for Victoria's $15,000 wedding dress for an engagement party. You spent $35,000 on a party you didn't invite me to. When exactly were you planning to pay me back? He didn't answer. I looked around the room. I'm not here to make peace, I said. I'm here to say this once, in front of all of you, so there's no confusion. I took a deep breath. I'm done. I'm not paying your mortgage anymore. I'm not doing your taxes. I'm not being your backup plan, your safety net, your invisible ATM. You made it very clear that I'm not your real daughter, so I'm acting accordingly. Maya, please, my mother said, tears in her eyes. We're family. No, I said quietly. Family doesn't treat each other like this. Family doesn't take and take and take and then call you dramatic when you finally say enough. I looked at Victoria. I love you, I said. But I can't keep lighting myself on fire to keep you warm. I hope you have a beautiful wedding. I hope you and Derek are happy. But I won't be there. I turned to leave. Maya, wait, my father called. The bank, they're going to foreclose. We need help. We need you. I stopped at the door. I didn't turn around. You should have thought of that, I said, before you told everyone I wasn't really yours. And I walked out. The applause. I got to my car. I sat in the driver's seat, shaking. My phone buzzed. It was Aunt Linda. I'm so proud of you. That took guts. P.S. Your mother is crying, your father is panicking, and Victoria just asked why no one told her you were paying the mortgage. Chaos. Worth it. Love you. I smiled. For the first time in years, I felt free. This is almost over, but I want to know, do you think my parents will actually learn from this? Or will they just find another way to blame me? Drop your prediction in the comments. It's been 2 months since I walked out of that living room. Here's what's happened since then. My parents. They lost the house. The bank began foreclosure proceedings 6 weeks after I stopped paying. My father tried to get a loan modification, but his business still wasn't generating enough income. They couldn't prove they could make the payments. They sold the house before the foreclosure went through, got $780,000 for it, which was decent in this market. After paying off the mortgage and their other debts, they had about $120,000 left. They bought a small condo in a neighboring town. No country club, no guest rooms, no backyard for Scout. My mother quit her book club. My father's Audi got traded in for a used Honda. They're not destitute, but they're not living the life they were living, and that's not my fault. That's the consequence of building a life you can't afford and expecting someone else to carry the weight. Victoria. Victoria postponed her wedding. Turns out my parents had promised to pay for it. They'd committed to a $60,000 budget. When they lost the house, that money disappeared. Derek's parents offered to contribute, but Victoria was embarrassed. She wanted to wait until they could do it right. She called me 3 weeks ago. Maya, she said, her voice small. I need to ask you something. What? Why didn't you tell me? About the mortgage, about the money. Why didn't you tell me you were helping them? I was quiet for a moment. Would it have mattered? I asked. Yes, she said, and she started crying. I had no idea, Maya. I swear. I thought Mom and Dad were fine. I thought, God, I didn't know. What would you have done differently? I asked. She didn't have an answer. I love you, Vic, I said. But you benefited from their choices. You got the tuition, you got the attention, you got the party. And when they excluded me, you didn't question it. You just accepted it. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know you are, I said. But I can't keep being the person everyone forgets about until they need something. I deserve better than that. Can we try again? Start over? Maybe, I said. But not right now. I need space. She said she understood. I hope she meant it. My new life. I'm still in my loft downtown. I got promoted at work, senior financial strategist. My salary went up to $165,000. I'm saving for the first time in years. Real saving. Not set aside money and then drain it to pay someone else's bills. Saving. I've been going to therapy twice a week, working through things, understanding that being raised to feel invisible isn't something you just get over. I've started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but I'm open to it. And I've been reconnecting with the people who actually showed up for me: Aunt Linda, Cousin Rachel, a few close friends. I don't miss my parents. I thought I would. I thought I'd feel guilty or sad or like I'd made a mistake, but mostly I feel relief. The lesson. From a psychological perspective, what I experienced is called scapegoating. In dysfunctional family systems, one child is often designated as the problem, the one who's expected to be endlessly flexible, understanding, and self-sacrificing, while the other child or children is idealized. The scapegoat is blamed when things go wrong and ignored when things go right. They're told they're too sensitive when they ask to be treated fairly. They're told they're causing drama when they set boundaries. And they're told they're not really family when they finally stop playing the role. I played that role for 28 years. I'm done now. The final message. If you're watching this and you see yourself in my story, if you're the invisible child, the one who's always expected to give more than you receive, I want you to hear this. Your worth is not measured by how useful you are to people who don't value you. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And walking away from people who treat you as an afterthought is not cruelty. It's survival. You deserve to be someone's first choice. You deserve to be celebrated, not tolerated. And you deserve to finally choose yourself. I chose myself, and it was the best decision I ever made. Pause. Thank you for being here until the very end. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share your own experience in the comments. You're not alone, and you're not asking for too much. You're just asking to be seen. Before you go, if you've ever had to walk away from toxic family dynamics, drop it in the comments. Let's support each other. And if you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for listening.